Hey there, nature enthusiasts! Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the western banded snake eagle. This majestic bird of prey is known for its striking appearance and impressive hunting skills. Let's explore its habitat, behavior, geographic range, reproduction, common names, systematics, historical classifications, modern systematics, phylogeny, possible inclusion of caryamiforms, migration, sexual dimorphism, olfaction, persecution, attacks on humans, and vision. First off, the western banded snake eagle is found in the open grasslands, savannas, and woodlands of sub-Saharan Africa. They're known for their powerful talons and keen eyesight, which helps them spot their prey from a distance. Now, let's talk about their behavior. These eagles are known for their hunting skills, often perching high in trees and waiting for their prey to pass by. They're also known to be monogamous, with mating pairs staying together for life. Moving on to their geographic range, the western banded snake eagle is found in a variety of habitats across sub-Saharan Africa. They're also known for their impressive migration patterns, often traveling long distances in search of food. In terms of reproduction, these eagles lay 2 eggs in a nest made of sticks and lined with grass. The female incubates the eggs for about 40 days, and both parents help raise the young. Now, let's touch on their common names. They're also known as the banded snake eagle, African snake eagle, and African banded snake eagle. Next, let's discuss their systematics. They're classified in the family Accipitridae, which includes other eagles, hawks, and kites. Moving on to historical classifications, they were once thought to be part of the genus Circaetus. However, modern systematics has placed them in the genus Circaetus. Now, let's talk about their phylogeny. They're closely related to other snake eagles, such as the snake eagle and the snake eagle. Next up, let's discuss their possible inclusion in the caryamiforms. Some studies suggest that they might be more closely related to the caryamiforms, a group of large birds that includes the Seriamas and the Watsine. Now, let's talk about migration. These eagles are known to migrate long distances, often traveling thousands of miles in search of food. Next, let's discuss sexual dimorphism. Males and females are similar in size and appearance, but males tend to have slightly longer wings. Moving on to olfaction, these eagles have a well-developed sense of smell, which helps them locate their prey. Now, let's talk about persecution. Unfortunately, these eagles are often persecuted by humans, as they're sometimes seen as a threat to livestock. Finally, let's discuss attacks on humans. While they're not known to attack humans, they may occasionally defend their nests or young from intruders. And that wraps up our exploration of the western banded snake eagle. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to follow and subscribe for more amazing wildlife facts. The western banded snake eagle Circaetus cinerascens is a gray-brown African raptor with a short tail and a large head. Juveniles have paler and browner upper parts than adults, with white-edged feathers. The eagle's head, neck, and breast are dark-streaked. The underparts are white with pale brown streaks, mainly on belly and thighs. Subadults may be all dark gray-brown without any streak on underparts. The eyes, ears, and legs are yellow. They have crested chests. Behavior: western banded snake eagles mainly hunt snakes, but also other small vertebrates ambushing from a perch. They drop from the perch to trunk, foliage, or ground. They are solitary birds and very secretive. Due to their sedentary lifestyle, they are often detected only by their calls. The western banded snake eagle sometimes rises to soar while it calls above the cannon. They utter a loud, high-pitched cock, 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 cock. Geographic ranges are found in Africa in the northern tropics from Senegal and Gambia east through to Ethiopia and then south to southern Angola and Zimbabwe, mostly west of the Rift Valley, but are mostly absent from the western lowland equatorial forests. They inhabit woodland and forest edges. This is an uncommon bird which is often difficult to spot. Its distribution is patchy and it is vulnerable to loss of its riverine habitat. It feeds primarily on reptiles and amphibians which it captures either on the ground or in trees. Reproduction: western banded snake eagle nests among creepers and foliage, making a new nest every year. It builds a small stick nest, well concealed within vegetation. The female lays only 1 egg. Incubation may last between 35 and 55 days, mainly by the female. The young fledge from the nest after 10 to 15 weeks. Birds of prey or predatory birds, also known as, although not the same as raptors, are hypercarnivorous bird species that actively hunt and feed on other vertebrates, mainly mammals, reptiles, and smaller birds. In addition to speed and strength, these predators have keen eyesight for detecting prey from a distance or during flight, strong feet with sharp talons for grasping or killing prey, and powerful, curved beaks for tearing off flesh. 2-3-4. Although predatory birds primarily hunt live prey, many species such as fish eagles, vultures, and condors also scavenge and eat carrion, too. Although the term bird of prey could theoretically be taken to include all birds that actively hunt and eat other animals, 4 ornithologists typically use the narrower definition followed in this page, 5 excluding many piscivorous predators such as storks, cranes, herons, gulls, skuas, penguins, and kingfishers, as well as many primarily insectivorous birds such as passerines, for example shrikes, nightjars, frogmouths, songbirds such as crows and ravens, alongside opportunistic predators from predominantly frugivorous or herbivorous ratites such as cassowaries and rheas. Some extinct predatory telluravian birds had talons similar to those of modern birds of prey, including mousebird relatives Sancalidae, 6, and Mesolasturide, indicating possible common descent. Some enantiornithes also had such talons, 7, indicating possible convergent evolution, as enantiornithines are not considered to be true modern birds. Common names. The term raptor is derived from the Latin word rapio, meaning to seize or take by force. 8. The common names for various birds of prey are based on structure, but many of the traditional names do not reflect the evolutionary relationships between the groups. Variations in shape and size. Eagles tend to be large, powerful birds with long, broad wings and massive feet. Booted eagles have legs and feet feathered to the toes and build very large stick nests. Falcons and kestrels are medium-sized birds of prey with long pointed wings, and many are particularly swift flyers. They belong to the family Falconidae, only distantly related to the accipitriforms below. Caracaras are a distinct subgroup of the Falconidae unique to the New World, and most common in the Neotropics. Their broad wings, naked faces, and appetites of a generalist suggest some level of convergence with either buteo or the vulturine birds, or both. True hawks are medium-sized birds of prey that usually belong to the genus Accipiter, see below. They are mainly woodland birds that hunt by sudden dashes from a concealed perch. They usually have long tails for tight steering. Buzzards are medium-large raptors with robust bodies and broad wings, or alternatively, any bird of the genus Buteo, also commonly known as hawks in North America, while buzzard is colloquially used for vultures. Harriers are large, slender hawk-like birds with long tails and long, thin legs. Most use a combination of keen eyesight and hearing to hunt small vertebrates, gliding on their long broad wings and circling low over grasslands and marshes. Kites have long wings and relatively weak legs. They spend much of their time soaring. They will take live vertebrate prey, but mostly feed on insects or even carrion. The osprey, a single species found worldwide that specializes in catching fish and builds large stick nests. Owls are variable-sized, typically night-specialized hunting birds. They fly almost silently due to their special feather structure that reduces turbulence. They have particularly acute hearing and nocturnal eyesight. The secretary bird is a single species with a large body and long, stilted legs, endemic to the open grasslands of sub-Saharan Africa. Vultures are scavengers and carrion-eating raptors of two distinct biological families, the Old World vultures Accipitridae, which occurs only in the Eastern Hemisphere, and the New World vultures Cathartidae, which occurs only in the Western Hemisphere. Members of both groups have heads either partly or fully devoid of feathers. Many of these English-language group names originally referred to particular species encountered in Britain. As English-speaking people traveled further, the familiar names were applied to new birds with similar characteristics. Names that have generalized this way include kite milvus milvus, sparrowhawk or sparhawk Accipiter nisus, goshawk Accipiter gentilis, kestrel falco teninculus, hobby falco subuteo, harrier simplified from hen harrier, Circus cyaneus, buzzard buteo buteo. Some names have not generalized and refer to single species or groups of closely related subspecies, such as the Merlin falco columbarius. Historical classification. Taxonomy of Carl Linnaeus grouped birds class avenues into orders, genera, and species, with no formal ranks between genus and order. He placed all birds of prey into a single order, accipiters, subdividing this into 4 genera: vultur vultures, falco eagles, hawks, falcons, etc., strix owls, and lanius shrikes. This approach was followed by subsequent authors such as Gmelin, Latham, and Turton. Louis Pierre Viollet used additional ranks: order, tribe, family, genus, species. Birds of prey order accipiters were divided into diurnal and nocturnal tribes. The owls remained monogeneric family Goli, genus Strix, whilst the diurnal raptors were divided into 3 families: Vulturini, Gypaeti, and Acipitrini. 9. Thus, Viollet's families were similar to the Linnaean genera, with the difference that shrikes were no longer included amongst the birds of prey. In addition to the original vultur and falco now reduced in scope, Viollet adopted 4 genera from Savigny: Phene, Haliotis, Pandion, and Elenus. He also introduced 5 new genera of vultures: Gypaegus, Catharista, Daptrius, Ibicter, Polyborus. Note 1 and 11 new genera of accipitrines: Aquila, Circaetus, Circus, Buteo, Milvis, Ictinia, Ficida, Harpia, Spizatus, Asturina, Sparvius. Falconomorphy is a deprecated superorder within Raptories, formerly composed of the orders Falconiformes and Strigiformes. The clade was invalidated after 2012. Falconiformes is now placed in Eufalconimorphy, while Strigiformes is placed in Aphroves. 10 modern systematic spalled eagle. The order Accipitriformes is believed to have originated 44 million years ago when it split from the common ancestor of the secretary bird Sagittarius serpentarius and the accipitrid species. 11. The phylogeny of accipitriforms is complex and difficult to unravel. Widespread paraphylies were observed in many phylogenetic studies. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 more recent and detailed studies show similar results. 17. However, according to the findings of a 2014 study, the sister relationship between larger clades of accipitriforms was well supported. For example, relationship of Harpagus kites to buzzards and sea eagles, and these latter 2 with accipiter hawks are sister taxa of the clade containing Aquilini and Harpini. 11. Migratory behavior evolved multiple times within accipitrid raptors. An obliged point of transit of the migration of the birds of prey is the bottleneck-shaped Strait of Messina, Sicily, here seen from Dinamare Mount Pelleritani. The earliest event occurred nearly 14 to 12 million years ago. This result seems to be one of the oldest dates published so far in the case of birds of prey. 11. For example, a previous reconstruction of migratory behavior in 1 Buteo clade 16 with a result of the origin of migration around 5 million years ago was also supported by that study. Migratory species of raptors may have had a southern origin because it seems that all of the major lineages within Accipitridae had an origin in one of the biogeographic realms of the southern hemisphere. The appearance of migratory behavior occurred in the tropics parallel with the range expansion of migratory species to temperate habitats. 11 similar results of southern origin in other taxonomic groups can be found in the literature. 23, 24, 25 Distribution and biogeographic history highly determine the origin of migration in birds of prey. Based on some comparative analyses, diet breadth also has an effect on the evolution of migratory behavior in this group. 11 But its relevance needs further investigation. The evolution of migration in animals seems to be a complex and difficult topic with many unanswered questions. A recent study discovered new connections between migration and the ecology, life history of raptors. A brief overview from abstract of the published paper shows that clutch size and hunting strategies have been proved to be the most important variables in shaping distribution areas, and also the geographic dissimilarities may mask important relationships between life history traits and migratory behaviors. The West Palearctic Afrotropical and the North-South American migratory systems are fundamentally different from the East Palearctic Indo-Malayan system, owing to the presence versus absence of ecological barriers. 26 Maximum entropy modeling can help in answering the question, why species winters at one location while the others are elsewhere. Temperature and precipitation-related factors differ in the limitation of species distributions. This suggests that the migratory behaviors differ among the 3 main migratory routes for these species. 26 Which may have important conservational consequences in the protection of migratory raptors. Sexual dimorphism. Male left and female right red-footed falcons. Birds of prey raptors are known to display patterns of sexual dimorphism. It is commonly believed that the dimorphisms found in raptors occur due to sexual selection or environmental factors. In general, hypotheses in favor of ecological factors being the cause for sexual dimorphism in raptors are rejected. This is because the ecological model is less parsimonious, meaning that its explanation is more complex than that of the sexual selection model. Additionally, ecological models are much harder to test because a great deal of data is required. 27 dimorphisms can also be the product of intersexual selection between males and females. It appears that both sexes of the species play a role in the sexual dimorphism within raptors. Females tend to compete with other females to find good places to nest and attract males, and males competing with other males for adequate hunting ground, so they appear as the most healthy mate. 28. It has also been proposed that sexual dimorphism is merely the product of disruptive selection and is merely a stepping stone in the process of speciation, especially if the traits that define gender are independent across a species. Sexual dimorphism can be viewed as something that can accelerate the rate of speciation. 29. In non-predatory birds, males are typically larger than females. However, in birds of prey, the opposite is the case. For instance, the kestrel is a type of falcon in which males are the primary providers, and the females are responsible for nurturing the young. In this species, the smaller the kestrels are, the less food is needed, and thus, they can survive in environments that are harsher. This is particularly true in the male kestrels. It has become more energetically favorable for male kestrels to remain smaller than their female counterparts because smaller males have an agility advantage when it comes to defending the nest and hunting. Larger females are favored because they can incubate larger numbers of offspring, while also being able to brood a larger clutch size. 30. Olfactionate is a long-standing belief that birds lack any sense of smell, but it has become clear that many birds do have functional olfactory systems. Despite this, most raptors are still considered to primarily rely on vision, with raptor vision being extensively studied. A 2020 review of the existing literature combining anatomical, genetic, and behavioral studies showed that, in general, raptors have functional olfactory systems that they are likely to use in a range of different contexts. 31. Persecution. Birds of prey have been historically persecuted both directly and indirectly. In the Danish Faroe Islands, there were rewards nebetold by royal decree from 1741 given in return for the bills of birds of prey shown by hunters. In Britain, kites and buzzards were seen as destroyers of game and killed. For instance, in May 1684 alone, as many as 100 kites were killed. Rewards for their killing were also in force in the Netherlands from 1756. From 1705 to 1800, it has been estimated that 624,087 birds of prey were killed in a part of Germany that included Hanover, Lüneburg, Lauenburg, and Bremen, with 14,125 claws deposited just in 1796-97. 32. Many species also develop lead poisoning after accidental consumption of lead shot when feeding on animals that had been shot by hunters. 33. Lead pellets from direct shooting that the birds have escaped from also cause reduced fitness and premature deaths. 34. Attacks on humans. Some evidence supports the contention that the African crowned eagle occasionally views human children as prey, with a witness account of one attack in which the victim, a 7-year-old boy, survived and the eagle was killed. 35. And the discovery of part of a human child's skull in a nest. This would make it the only living bird known to prey on humans, although other birds such as ostriches and cassowaries have killed humans in self-defense, and a lammergeier might have killed Aeschylus by accident. 36. Many stories of Brazilian indigenous peoples speak about children mauled by weirwit, the harpy eagle, in Tupi language. Citation needed. Various large raptors like golden eagles are reported attacking human beings. 37. But it's unclear if they intend to eat them or if they have ever been successful in killing one. Some fossil evidence indicates large birds of prey occasionally preyed on prehistoric hominids. The Tong child, an early human found in Africa, is believed to have been killed by an eagle-like bird similar to the crowned eagle. The Haast's eagle may have preyed on early humans in New Zealand, and this conclusion would be consistent with Maori folklore. Leptoptilus robustus 38 might have preyed on both Homo floresiensis and anatomically modern humans, and the Malagasy crowned eagle, Teratorns, Woodward's eagle, and Caracara major 39 are similar in size to the Haast's eagle, implying that they similarly could pose a threat to a human being. Vision. Birds of prey have incredible vision and rely heavily on it for a number of tasks. 40. They utilize their high visual acuity to obtain food, navigate their surroundings, distinguish and flee from predators, mating, nest construction, and much more. They accomplish these tasks with a large eye in relation to their skull, which allows for a larger image to be projected onto the retina. 40. The visual acuity of some large raptors such as eagles and Old World vultures are the highest known among vertebrates. The wedge-tailed eagle has twice the visual acuity of a typical human and 6 times that of the common ostrich, which possess the largest eyes of any terrestrial animal. 41. There are 2 regions in the retina, called the deep and shallow fovea, that are specialized for acute vision. 42. These regions contain the highest density of photoreceptors and provide the highest points of visual acuity. The deep fovea points forward at an approximate 45 angle, while the shallow fovea points approximately 15 to the right or left of the head axis. 42. Several raptor species repeatedly cock their heads into 3 distinct positions while observing an object. First is straight ahead with their head pointed towards the object. Second and third are sideways to the right or left of the object, with their head axis positioned approximately 40 adjacent to the object. This movement is believed to be associated with lining up the incoming image to fall on the deep fovea. Raptors will choose which head position to use depending on the distance to the object. At distances as close as 8 meters, they use primarily binocular vision. At distances greater than 21 meters, they spend more time using monocular vision. At distances greater than 40 meters, they spend 80% or more time using their monocular vision. This suggests that raptors tilt their head to rely on the highly acute deep fovea. 42. Like all birds, raptors possess tetrachromacy. However, due to their emphasis on visual acuity, many diurnal birds of prey have little ability to see ultraviolet light, as this produces chromatic aberration, which decreases the clarity of vision. 43. Hey there, everyone! We've come to the end of today's content. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed the discussion and learned something new. We appreciate your time and support. Before we sign off, we just want to remind you to take care of yourselves and have a nice day. Remember, your health and well-being are of utmost importance. We'll be back with more exciting content soon. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep exploring. Thank you once again for your time and support. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for more updates. Take care and have a great day.